LOL.
What a classic April Fool's Day. Did you really think we were going to have a nice trading session? Did you really think we were going to have a nice, beautiful trend that you could get on at the start of the day, off at the end of the day, and make a bunch of dinero? Well, you might have wished that happened, but in reality, we got smacked in the face. Bunch of whipsaw, not the nicest of price action, but I do have some good news. It seems as if that whole craziness is going to be ending soon because we're going into Liberation Day, which basically means this is the calm before the storm because it's about to go down. In this video, I'll be breaking down all the major developments of the day, but I'll mostly be focusing on what to pay attention to not only tomorrow, but for the remainder of the week. We'll be talking the major news, the major events, and also the major support and resistance levels that I highly recommend you pay attention to. But before we get to all of that, if you enjoy these types of market breakdowns, don't forget to like, subscribe, hug your mom, all that good stuff. And with that being said, let's rock. By the time the world's largest casino went diggity ding 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 on the day, here was the headline. S&P 500 closes higher to start new quarter as traders await Trump tariff rollout. That's what we're all waiting for. On the market, like I said, we dumped, we pumped, we dumped, and then we pumped in the close. There's actually way more green than I thought there would be. The SPY technically up by about 0.3, the Q's up by 0.8, volatility coming down, and then you even have Bitcoin chilling at 85. So overall, kind of like a whippy stall out pattern. Looking at the heat map, midday, this was a lot more mixed. By the end of the day, everything's actually looking decently green. The only sector that's having a bit of pain is the healthcare sector. So that might be a little worthwhile to keep an eye on just to see what happens with that particular trend. Now, bringing it back to the overall market, it had no idea what we wanted to do today. Price and options dropped, popped, dropped, and popped. More specifically, we saw a lot of longer duration calls being bought at the start of the day. Then those were dropped with the 0DT calls. People then all of a sudden aggressively got into 0DT puts. And then at the start of power hour, people started buying calls and getting out of puts. And then we popped once again. I do want to let you know that right now, the overall options chain, looking at all the expiration dates, is still put dominated. It is still controlled by the bears. But a little bit later on, I'm going to call out the levels where we're most likely going to see that switch up a little bit. But to understand what might prompt it to switch up, well, this is the major news. Trump says he settled on Liberation Day tariff plan, but doesn't reveal it. President wants to use tariffs to both raise revenue and negotiate with other countries. So allegedly, at least at the point that I'm filming this, he knows what he's going to say, but we're not going to find that out till tomorrow. We have some ideas. We did get some updates. The dirty 15%, some countries will take a harder hit from Trump's tariffs. Trump is set to launch quote unquote reciprocal tariffs against all other countries that have their own duties on US goods or other trade barriers. The Treasury Secretary has singled out what he called the dirty 15, the 15% of countries that trade heavily with the US and have high tariffs. The forthcoming import duties will pile on top of the flurry of others that Trump has already announced. So right now, the golden question is, when in the world is this going down? Trump's tariffs to take immediate effect, according to the White House. We did get this update today. Trump on April 2nd, Wednesday, plans to roll out tariffs on global trading partners during an event planned at 4 p.m. Eastern, right when the market closes, and this will be happening at the White House Rose Garden. So not only do we get clarity on exactly when we're going to get this massively important update, we also got a little bit of clarity of how some of these trading partners of ours are going to start clapping back. Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, will give a comprehensive response to Trump's tariffs. On April 3rd, we will be giving a comprehensive response to what Mexico is going to do in this situation, and that does not mean closing the doors to working with the US. So as of right now, there's a lot of unknowns, quite a bit of uncertainty that ideally tomorrow will become officially known. So that's good. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Bullish, bearish, surprises, no surprises? Folks, I have no idea. I don't have Trump on speed dial. I don't have a working crystal ball. So my biggest suggestion is just wait back, see what type of trend is going to be created, and then ride the new trend, because most likely it's going to be a very strong one. But I do want to remind you, this isn't the only stuff going down. We have other major things this week. So yes, Wednesday, April 2nd, at the market close, we're going to be hearing from Trump. But before that, we're going to get the ADP non-farm employment change. The next day, Thursday, we're not only hearing from the Mexico president, Sheinbaum, we're getting the initial jobless claims, the ISM non-manufacturing numbers, and then on Friday, we're going to be getting up real early for the unemployment report, and then also midday, we're going to be hearing from the chairman of the Fed, Powell himself. So to put that another way, every day for the remainder of the week is most likely to be a wild one because we're going to go from this phase of high uncertainty to at least some things being known. Circling back to a little bit ago when I was talking about uncertainty, check this out. The US Economic Policy Uncertainty Index has hit its highest level in history. The most uncertain our economy's ever been. And right now, obviously, it's causing quite a bit of frothiness. But I get that there's a lot of bearish doomsday callers out there. I mean, heck, even I can see that the overall option chain is put dominated, which means, yeah, there is serious money being bet on the downside. But I have a counter to that. What if between now and the end of the week, all this uncertainty is removed? All of a sudden, what if these puts are closed out? What if vol collapses? What if we see people getting back into calls? We can have a gangbusters Vanna rally. So personally, what I'm looking for is for as soon as this uncertainty, it's not going to be completely leaving the system. Obviously, there's going to be things that we're all saying, what in the world's going on? But even if it drops by a decent amount, what this might prompt traders to do in the market, specifically in options, we might see a big shift where if those puts are closed, if volatility collapses, if people start getting back into calls, it's not just going to be a pump to the upside, it's going to be a rip to the upside. So now you're probably thinking,
okay, at what level could this actually happen?
Well, I did quite a bit of a breakdown on the current option structure, and I do want to let you know if the SPX is remaining above 5,600, the bulls, at least in the short term, have a bit of control, and below it, obviously, the bears have a bit of control. Now, things get uniquely bullish if we can break above and hold above 5,650, and really exciting above 5,700. But on the other side, if we snap 5,600, then you're watching 5,550, and below that, they get pretty hairy. Very clearly, I care if there's technical breakouts or technical breakdowns, but I cannot stress this enough. It is very important to ensure that that breakout and or breakdown is also being supported by the option structure and the options flow. Right now, that is clearly put dominated, but if anything in that particular world changes in the short term, I will happily let you know. And finally, for any of those of you who are anxious or a little bit worried about the upcoming situation, well, we got this from the White House today. According to the White House, Wall Street will be just fine. So the fact that they said it, the fact that it's on the internet must mean that it's true. That's what I have for you now. I'll catch you in the live stream tomorrow morning, Monday to Friday, 9 to 11. And then also we'll be doing a specialty show for that whole Liberation Day event. Hope to see you there. Have a good one.